Hello, and welcome to Oracle Hour. My name is Sabrina Rising. I'm a psychic medium and a spiritual teacher, and it's my honor to channel spirit on your behalf. Welcome back to Wednesday nights. We are officially back on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific every week until further notice. Thank you for being flexible. I can see we have a lot of Sunday night community members here tonight joining us back for our first Wednesday night live in community with you. On Oracle Hour. For those of you that are new here, don't hesitate and put your question in the chat. I answer questions on a first come, first serve basis, unless, of course, you are a community member. If you are a paying member of our community, you can simply join the channel to become a member of the community, and you get priority access in the chat. I answer your questions first. You also get access to our YouTube members only content, and you get access to our pardon me, just double lives happening. You get access to our community, our members only content on YouTube, and also the Oracle Gathering, which happens the second Sunday of every month. It is a closed circle mediumship, evidential mediumship circle and channeling circle as well. As you can come and join our community. You can come as a one-time member, or if you join as a member, you get access to that every month. Okay, so that's available for you if you just simply click join the channel. So for those of you that are here joining me live tonight, we're streaming on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, obviously, and on Instagram. If you're anywhere other than YouTube, you can see me, but I can't see you. So join me on YouTube at Sabrina Rising, and be sure to say hello and say hi to each other as well. I love it when that happens. Let me take a moment to say hi to everybody. Moonlight Shadow is here tonight. Hello. Oh, Maria. Okay. Hi, Maria. Welcome to our community. Demi is here. Welcome. Vicky's here. Patty is here. I see you. Hi, everybody. Hi, Vicky. Good to see you. Louise is here. It's good to see you. Hi, Louise. And who else do we have here? ACD. Oh, I haven't seen you in a while. Wow, it's been a long time. Thank you for coming back. It's good to see you. And Soul Wandering. This is Sarah. Hi, Sarah. Good to see you here tonight. Beautiful. Hi. I'm happy to be here. Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to get to readings in a moment. I usually teach, if you're new, put your question in the chat. Don't hesitate. Any question is welcome. If I have to reframe it for you, I will. My intention is to connect with your higher self, your spirit team, your guides, your loved ones in spirit, and bring forward messages that serve your highest and best good, and that bring clarity and potentially activate a cycle of healing for you wherever you are on your spiritual development journey. Okay, so I pull from all sorts of resources in order to serve you, and of course it's up to you to really listen in for the message and allow yourself to hear what Spirit's trying to tell you tonight. If I'm not reading for you, please stay and listen for the whole broadcast, because all the messages that come through, all the questions that are answered, and all the messages that come through are really for everybody, myself included. And we'll always see a theme that sort of emerges, week after week. There's always a theme that comes through that's consistent for a lot of the members that are here. Okay. If you are looking for a reading, please stay and validate. Okay, so interact with me on the screen. It makes for a much more productive conversation, flowful channeling, and also much more beneficial for our community that is watching, both to receive support and to support you. Okay, so be sure to stay on and validate if you're looking for readings. Okay, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I always forget to ask this. So I'll ask this at the beginning. So I usually forget by the end of the broadcast. I'm sort of like all over the place. So just don't forget to like and subscribe, and put your, of course, keep putting your questions in the chat as they come through. For the first portion of Oracle Hour, I usually teach. So tonight we're talking about when your body says yes, but the mind says no, or perhaps when the mind says yes and the body says no. Either way, we're talking about learning to trust our body as being the instrument for the truth, for what our soul is trying to communicate with us. And we're learning to sort of override the ego identity and fear-based conditioning that the mind is really made up of, so that we can learn to trust ourselves fully and completely. I'm a huge advocate for developing your sovereignty I just developed a digital download, a product called the Sovereignty Guide. If you haven't heard about it yet, actually, Bo, my husband, is helping moderate tonight. So everybody say hi to Bo. And Bo will put the link for the Sovereignty Guide here momentarily. It's in the banner section, Bo. And if you haven't heard about the Sovereignty Guide, it's a workbook with 6 guided audios that will help you sort of regulate your nervous system and learn how to discern truth from intuition, from fear, truth from falsehood, what actually serves your highest and best good versus your the need the mind has to keep you safe, which is essentially the role of the mind. The mind is there to keep you safe. It's also a wonderful place for memories, for remembering things, for instructions, for left brain activities, but it's not an accurate guide for how to navigate your life. It doesn't really give us access to the realm of infinite possibilities. Okay. So when your body is saying yes, like you feel something and you feel that it's true and you feel that expansiveness, your cells are opening up. And again, intuition arrives like a warm hug. It feels welcoming. It feels like something is moving through you. You can even, one of my signals for the truth, being flooded with the truth, is feeling chills or goosebumps. And this is sort of the way spirit communicates with me. And I know that what I'm speaking is true, or what I'm saying is true, what I just felt is real. And this is a sign from spirit. Okay. So you may have your own, like it can be something that, perhaps you have a different physical signal, or perhaps there are symbols that you see, or, it's unique for every single one of us. But ultimately we want to get familiar with how spirit communicates with us, how our higher self communicates with us through our bodies, so that we can learn to trust that guidance over and above everything else that we've been conditioned to listen to. The mind is there to keep you safe. You'll notice that the first response, if you're sitting with a question, or if you're contemplating doing something, the first response is always the correct one. And what happens in that gap between feeling, the knowing, and the mind sort of kicks in and starts to second guess. It starts to bring in doubt. And the doubt is rooted in fear, because the mind's job, again, is to keep you safe. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if I fail? What if I, get rejected? What if I'm, not loved? Or what if I'm, for example, what if I make a mistake, essentially, which there is really no mistakes. It's only learning and growing, right? So it's just a matter of being willing to override that early childhood pain that we may have felt of not being loved, or not being approved of, or being rejected, or being abandoned, being willing to sit in those uncomfortable emotions so that we can be fully self-expressed, which is right on theme for today, especially this lunar eclipse, or solar eclipse, actually, that we are integrating from. This is now it's the evening of the solar eclipse, and that solar eclipse was in the south node of Leo, which basically means loosening up the identity that we've created in order to perform, to look good, to be approved of. So as you're listening to what I'm sharing, start to reflect on some ways that you've allowed yourself to develop an identity that really needs approval, that version of you that's performative, the version of you that wants to be loved, that wants to be liked, that needs to be seen. That's Leo energy. Okay. So this solar eclipse has really loosened some of that up, and it's giving room for the North Node in Aquarius, opposite Leo, for your true voice to come through, for authenticity to come through. So this, eclipse is not really about shiny new beginnings. It's really about letting go and making and allowing the thing that's not serving you to be stripped away, so the real you can come forward, be fully seen, and be fully self-expressed. And how this ties into learning to trust our bodies is that our bodies will want to express the truth. They will want to guide us in the direction that serves our highest and best good. You'll notice your body will naturally lean forward when something is beneficial for you. It can be anything. It can be a relationship. It can be a job. It can be a decision you're making, a course you want to take, or whatever it is you want to move forward in, your body will give you permission to move forward. You will feel that nudge if you are developing your awareness and the sensitivity to really tune into it and say, okay, this is my yes. I can feel it. Like I can feel spirit. I can feel flooded with goosebumps, or I can feel like I'm being pulled forward. This is a kind of a muscle testing thing that we can do too, especially if you're, trying to discern what's beneficial for your body. So these are all kind of in the same vein, expansiveness and truth opens up the cells. And like I said earlier, intuition really feels like something is warm and arriving. It's not invasive. It's not intrusive. There's no shortness of breath. In fact, your breath tends to slow down because you feel like, something's been lifted. There is fresh possibility on the horizon. This is how you know that something is beneficial for you. And just observe the mind, because the mind, as I mentioned, and I say this almost every week, is there to keep you safe. It wants to contract. It wants to put that cautionary tape around whatever it is you're planning on doing and say, okay, but be careful. I don't know about this. We could get hurt. We could get rejected. We could fail. We could, someone can stop us, or perhaps, abandon us, or whatever the most painful thing you can imagine is. Okay, because keeping in mind that fear has the root of fear is an early childhood conditioning. That's where we learned it, in our early childhood, and it has so many iterations. And the older we become, the more sophisticated the ego gets, and the more complicated we make our lives. We find things to be afraid of, even when there is nothing to fear. The mind will put obstacles, imaginary obstacles, perceptual fear, so that we can prevent ourselves from being hurt, prevent ourselves from really being fully self-expressed, which, today of all days, we're being asked to let go of that identity, allow it to burn with the sun, and really loosen up, and allowing that Aquarius self-expression, authentic self-expression, to really come forward. Who am I? Right? This is the question we want to ask ourselves today. Who am I? How do I want to show up? Let me let go of all the ways that I've been pretending and performing, and all the things that just aren't working for me, the things that you've been trying to push forward that aren't working for you anymore, and really trust especially the readings that you're about to receive tonight, with the message that Spirit has for you in terms of what's next for your life. Okay. So that's my teaching for tonight in terms of listening to your body, how you know when your body is saying yes or no. Again, breathing, checking in with yourself, trusting your own body signals, and noticing. The more you practice this work, the more you'll have the opportunity to really discern. You can notice that gap between your body sensations and the voice of the mind that kicks in to try and talk you out of whatever it is you're trying to create for yourself. Okay, so just notice the voice of doubt is not necessarily the reasoning mind. The reasoning mind is also known as the logical mind, as the ego, as the identity, which is really only there to as a caution, but it's not necessarily the truth. Okay. Of course, use your own discernment, your own judgment in your daily life. And the more we practice learning to trust ourselves and learning to lean into our body signals, the louder they become, and the more reliable this information gets too, because it's a muscle that we develop. The more we develop it, the stronger it gets. Okay. So thank you everybody for hanging in with me. Hi, Bo's here. Good. Saying hi to everybody. Hi, Anka. Good to see you. Okay, beautiful. Okay, let's put the link for the guide. I don't know. There it is. I had mentioned that earlier. Okay, beautiful. Thank you, Bo. Okay, for those of you that missed it earlier, the sovereignty guide is it's basically my voice with you at all times, whenever you need it. If you need to regulate your nervous system and just come back to your heart and recognize that you have the power to know that you can be the oracle in your own life, and that the truth is available to you at any given moment. If you are in a life crisis, or facing a choice, or facing a decision, and you don't know what direction to move forward in, of course, that's why we come here week after week, is to have these questions answered. This is my gift to you, is a very simple practice that you can follow through, so that you can really learn to trust your own inner knowing. As a bridge between worlds, it's always my honor to channel spirit on your behalf, to bring forward messages of love, of healing, of faith, and of hope, and reassurance, and ultimately, to teach you how to do that for yourself. And of course, this is a beautiful, beautiful way to live. So that's the link for the guide. We can take that off the screen now. Well, beautiful. Awesome. Okay, let's jump into readings and see what we have here. Sarah says, hi, everyone. Hi, Vicky. Hi, Sabrina. Happy to be your live tonight. Thank you for your messages and words. I'm listening for the universal messages and open to anything coming through for me. I feel like, I keep hearing this thing around stealing time. Like you feel like you're stealing time for yourself, or you need to steal time for yourself. And maybe it's even stealing time to do the things that you love. It's not necessarily for self-care, but it's for things that you enjoy doing. And it's interesting how it comes through in that way, because I think what I feel is part of what you're grappling with is giving yourself permission to have something that's yours, or to have something that's for you. And it feels like you're stealing time because you're being pulled in so many different directions. And what's underneath that is some guilt, perhaps, around taking the time that you need to take to do what you need to do for you, right? To sort of organize your life and simplify how you are spending this time. Okay, that's part of the issue too, is that it always feels like there's just not enough time to get it all done and to fit it all in. And so Spirit wants you to simplify your goals right now. Like really focus in on the thing that's lighting you up and that's bringing you the most joy. And it's okay to put other things on pause as you complete certain things. And that's part of it too. It's like there's a feeling of like, how can I get more time? How can I manage this? Like, I feel like you're moving things around on your calendar to fit things in, or, you're squeezing stuff and overlapping things and not really giving yourself room to breathe. Okay. Which is so important, which I know you know this, Sarah. So it's very, very important. So Spirit wants you to let go of this idea of having to steal time, because first of all, time is a mental construct. And when you're in alignment, everything just kind of flows the way it's supposed to. And there's a part of you, Sarah, that wants that feeling of flow, that you want that feeling of like, I'm taking each step as it comes, and each thing as it comes, and I'm moving forward with grace and ease and confidence that I'm moving forward in the right direction. And this is very wobbly because the foundation has been really wobbly for you for quite some time. Okay. So I really want you to focus on, grounding and finding your footing in the here and the now, and choosing the thing that you're going to fulfill on, complete on, like see to completion. There's something that you have to see to completion right now. And as soon as you do that, it'll open up the next opportunity and the next opportunity. We don't need to have all these things going at the same time. Okay. So just focus in on the one thing that you really, really want to move forward on right now. And just trust that there is enough time for it, and to give yourself the time that you need. It's okay to communicate like, hey, I need time to do this. I need time to do that. And to not feel guilty about it. Okay. This is so important. Your relationship with time right now is really up for reevaluation. And, you gotta reconcile this relationship you have with time, and making sure that you're not forcing time to do everything, but you're trusting that there is time to do all the things that actually serve you right now. Okay. That's my message for you tonight. And feel free to validate if you're here, especially if you're here looking for readings. Please chime in and let me know if this resonates for you. Okay. Beautiful. Anka's here. Anka says, hi, Sabrina. Do you still see a partner coming into my life? Hold on. Let's go back to Sarah before we jump into the next question. Sarah says, this resonates. Thank you so much. I'm taking more time to do things on my own for myself these days, breath by breath. Good. Okay, beautiful. Good. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for validating. Okay, let's go back to Anka. Anka says, hi, Sabrina. Do you still see a partner coming into my life that will match my frequency and align with my values? I've had some close prospects, but not quite right for my best good. Okay. I mean, yes, of course I see a partner. Why wouldn't I? I mean, there's, you know, it's equally as important to get intimately acquainted with what you don't want as it is to get intimately acquainted with what you do want. Okay. So I feel like we're getting closer and closer. And that's good. It's good for you to, I think, in the process of choosing a partner, the dating and the getting to know people and the discerning for yourself whether someone is a match or not, you're learning about you. You're learning to honor yourself. You're learning to draw good boundaries. You're learning to walk away from situations that are potentially not quite at your speed or don't meet the standard that you're holding for yourself, which sets a clear frequency. You're talking about frequency. You're raising your frequency when you walk away from relationships that don't serve you or that aren't meeting your needs, as you're saying. So, I do see a partner, and I think, again, I feel like, yeah, I want to say that it's either through a dating service, or it's someone that you meet through a friend of a friend. Like it's not, it feels, I actually want to say it, this might be a friend of a friend, it might be through a referral or something like that. Like it actually feels like it can be, or it also can be someone that you feel like you've known before. I think what I'm hearing is that when you see this person, you're going to know, because it'll feel like a soul connection. It'll feel very familiar. And I think that's the word I'm looking for. It feels familiar. It feels like, oh, of course it's you. Like that's the feeling that you want to hold out for. Okay. And that's the message I want to give you, because that's a really clear indication. We were talking about indications about trusting our body earlier, like getting chills or symbols and things that we can recognize that this is what my body is communicating is true. Okay. So this is what I feel for you. I don't, it's important that you stay open-minded and open-hearted and willing, which I know you are. And also continuing to live your life as if it's already happened. Enjoy your life and enjoy your friendships and enjoy feeling loved and being loved, receiving and giving love in your social circles and your, with your close friends and so on, because that's the frequency we want to be a vibrational match for. Okay. So yes, the short answer to your question is yes, I still see that. And don't get discouraged. Okay, Anka, thank you for being here tonight. Moonlight says, I love Sabrina. Honest readings. She's so awesome. Very intuitive. Hugs from Norway. Oh, hello, Norway. Welcome. Welcome. Happy to have you here joining us. Hi, Jonathan. I see you. Moonlight says, hey, I'm wondering, will my ex, Philip, and me ever reconcile and be together? Let me see. Okay. This is up to you. This is your choice. I can never tell you what to do, yes or no. The possibility is there, but I would advise against it. Of course, you're free to choose because we have free will. I feel like this is, this relationship is very intense. There's a strong magnetic pull. It's got some, I say this with love and respect. There's some toxic energy here, almost like a compulsive energy, like you're almost like addicted to each other, where you kind of, get together and you let go, and you get together and you let go. And it's on and off, and it doesn't feel stable. Okay. So when I tune into the energy of you and Philip, it feels like there's really a lot of healing work to do. Okay. So, and of course that's not impossible. But we broke up last year, but it has taken its toll on me. Okay. So I hear you. I think that part of the reason why you want this person back is because you're not really giving yourself permission to feel the grief, to mourn the loss, and to learn how to be okay without him. Okay. And it can be hard because I know, like I said, this is a very intense relationship. That's what I feel. I think the possibility is there because I think he's going through the same thing you're going through, but it's not a good idea. I think you're going to go right back to where you were. I want to liken it to like, when an alcoholic quits drinking. Okay. So you quit drinking and you stop for some time and then you go back to it, and you go back not only to, you don't just go back to having one or two, you go back to the full blown, behavior, like just completely out of control behavior. So it's like you get together and it goes right back to where it was, and I wish I could say this in a, I wish I was a better, I wish I had better news for you, but it's not, I don't feel like this is in alignment with your highest and best good. I would really do the work to mourn the relationship and to grieve and to learn how to be okay without him. I understand it's taking its toll on you, but there's much better in store for you. You just have to learn how to love yourself a little more and hold that standard of how you want to be met in love, even if it means learning to live without Philip, which you've been doing for a year. So that's my advice for you. Okay. Thank you for being here tonight. And thank you for asking the question. Anka says, I hear that loud and clear. I'm learning. My body, my mind told me to let go of Bob. Yay. Thank you. I felt it too. Wanted validation. Okay, good. Beautiful. Yeah. I mean, you have to trust yourself. We can give guidance here. Of course, I can connect you to all the the realm of infinite possibilities, but ultimately you want to trust your body and you want to trust how you feel in your heart and soul. And, the body is always, it will always give you the honest answer. It's not, the mind will kick in and say, hey, like, don't make this mistake, or, don't watch out for this, or I don't feel like you're missing out on anything here. I feel like the mind is not is of course trying to keep you safe, but I feel like in this instance, because they're in alignment, you made the right choice, and it's good. Doesn't feel like a setback. It actually feels like a step in the right direction, as I mentioned earlier. Okay, so just trust yourself, and of course, keep living in love, because living in love is how you attract love into your life. All right, beautiful, Anka. Thank you for being here. Okay, Patty, nice to see you here. Let me get some water. Patty says, I saw a doctor for lifestyle medicine, which encompasses diet, sleep, and stress management. I had an urgent feeling that I need to do better health-wise. Could my guides be nudging me? I mean, an urgent feeling is definitely your guides nudging you, 100%. I would definitely take that into consideration. I mean, let's define stress management. What are you doing for stress management? There has to be a practice of learning to breathe and regulate your nervous system. And, if you haven't gotten the sovereignty guide yet, this is your clue to go and purchase that so you can have the workbook and the guided audios to help you do that. We need a practice to help you manage stress, because stress, there's the link for the guide. Thank you, Bo. The root cause of stress can't be managed. You have to address it. Otherwise, it's just a Band-Aid. This is so important. I think the dietary changes are good, Patty. Just feel into that for you since you brought it up. The dietary changes are like no gluten, no dairy. I actually feel like there's some allergies going on a physical level. So very timely as usual. Okay, good. Perfect. So some allergies going on a physical level, like inflammation, So the dietary shifts are good, but ultimately the stress, you got to get to the root of it. And it's how you're relating to the situations in your life, taking on the responsibility, worrying, spending time like with ruminating thoughts. I would love to have the guide. I need that structure and plan to follow and a plan to follow. Okay, good. Bo just put up the link, so you can get it there. You can get it on my website as well under the sovereignty guide. Okay, there it is. Yeah, it's we can learn to manage stress, but ultimately we want to live a life that's not stressful, right? So, there are ways that we can sort of remove the things that are really stressing you. So see, these are habits. They're habitual. I'm feeling in for you, and perhaps this is true for others that are listening as well. The ruminating thoughts, the trouble sleeping because you're worrying, because you're indulging in fear-based conditioning, like fear-based thinking. There is a need for structure and spiritual practice. There's a need for daily breath work. It doesn't have to be a big, long thing. It can be 5-10 minutes of meditation will help you find your center. Look, as human beings, it's important for us to have a context for living, right? So if you're just living your life for you and you think that it's just, you're having these random experiences every day and you're learning how to navigate them, then we can feel very disconnected and fragmented and grappling for reassurance and security. Yes, she says it's the ruminating that inhibits my, yeah, I feel that, I can see it. So it's important to have a context for living. What is your context? You're a soul having, there's the guide. You're a soul having a human experience. Your soul is infinite and eternal. Its baseline is peace. Okay. And we have access to that in our day-to-day. If you're not experiencing inner peace, if you don't feel like you have access to inner peace, it's because you're lost in the 3D, in the identity, in the mind, in trying to make things happen. What's going to happen? Perhaps regretting the past or worrying about the future. This is how most human beings live. When we have a context for living, my context is that I have a connection with spirit, that I am an expression of source consciousness, an expression of God in a human body, navigating this life. I'm here to learn, to grow, to choose love, to transcend fear, to be of service in whatever way, is whatever way brings me joy. Right? I'm here. And so when we live with this context, it makes the day-to-day more manageable. It allows us to have perspective. Why am I going through this? Patty, part of the reason why you're ruminating is because you're still looking at you're still looking at the events of your life as happening to you rather than for you. Okay. Patty says, I worry about my kids. Yeah. I mean, look, I feel that, I'm a mom, so I understand and relate and have empathy, worrying about your kids, but it doesn't fix anything. Right? It doesn't change the outcome. Your children have their own karmic path. They have their own choices. They have their own free will. All you can do is guide and make suggestions. And, when you're asked, I know your kids are grown, so you have to wait to be asked, and you can guide and make suggestions and trust that everyone is having the experience they're supposed to have. We cannot prevent our children from getting hurt or making mistakes. We can only trust that they're going to grow from the mistakes that they make. They're going to learn from the choices that they're making, and trust that they're being guided, divinely guided, just like you're being divinely guided. Again, if you have a context for living, then this helps bring perspective. Even when we look at our children, we say, okay, well, if I'm being directed by God and I'm an expression of God, so are they. Right. And so hopefully this gives you a little bit of reassurance, allows you to have some peace. And that's why I created the guide, so that you can have a daily practice and you can have my voice with you at 2 a.m. when your thoughts are ruminating and you're wondering what to do and how do I find my center, and so on. Okay. So the diet's good. Obviously I would advise against stimulants and things like that, especially if you're having trouble sleeping. But ultimately, we need a practice, a daily practice. Doesn't have to be a big, long thing, but we need a practice and a relationship with spirit so that we can find our center in moments of stress. Okay. Patty says, thank you for your kindness. You're so welcome. It's my pleasure, Patty. It's good to have you here. Okay. Who's next? Hi, AC. Good to see you. IC says, Hi, Sabrina. It's been so long since I tuned in. I hope all is well. My question today is now a good time for me to quit my job and go back to school? I'm just not sure how to pay for school. Okay. So, I mean, I don't see this as an either or. I know that in the 3D mind says, well, I might either do this or do that, or how do I do this? Like, this is a very typical question that the mind would ask, right? Is how do I make this work? And the how is the realm of the universe, right? So I don't want you to worry about how. I want you to focus on what feels true for you. What makes sense for you at this time? Where do you feel like you would want to put your energy? It's really important that we don't limit ourselves by our circumstances, because then we're always stuck in limited circumstances. You want to expand yourself into whatever feels most aligned for you. What allow that to be possible. I actually my That's my spiritual guidance. My psychic kid is, I feel like there is an opportunity for you to take some classes as you're working, so you can do both. I don't think you have to give up one for the other. You can, start by taking the one class that you're thinking of, and start to develop that as that part of you, this particular field of study, and then see how that opens up another opportunity and another opportunity. You don't have to choose. It doesn't have to be one or the other. There's so many different ways to pay for school. I feel like you haven't really explored that. You haven't really looked into what's available as far as like financing or grants or things like that. So there are conversations you could have, which I'll leave you to do that research because it's readily available to you. What I my sense is that you can be doing both. It's just a matter of being willing to just do a little bit of school while you're working. Like, you don't have to choose. You can have both be true for you at this time. And I actually think that would be a good thing. Okay. I also would look into your workplace, because they could be offering some kind of professional development, or there's some resources available that you're not tapping into. Okay. That's my message for you. So go and do a little digging and then come back and let us know how that unfolds for you. Okay. I'm getting the feeling to quit my job since July, but I've been scared. Gotcha. Yeah. You don't need to. You don't need to. I mean, it's like I said, I can't tell you what to do. I don't see anything wrong with the job, other than it's not your favorite thing in the world to be doing right now, but it's serving a purpose. Okay. And I say this with love and respect always. That there's something in you that is just kind of always looking for the next thing. Okay. Like you have a hard time sticking with one thing for a while, or like it's not, you want to keep moving around or keep doing the next thing and keep doing the next thing. Like I think it's actually healthy for you to stay where you are right now and build from here. Okay. This is the message I'm getting very clearly for you. So something to consider is, can I improve upon my education, my life, or, gain skills while I'm doing what I'm doing, while I'm creating a foundation of stability and consistency and structure for my life? Because consistency and structure is part of what your soul came here to understand. All right. So I want to just make sure I communicate that very clearly, because, it's like that you're looking for something in the job, in the school. You're looking for something. And the thing you're looking for is here. It's inside you. Okay. So it's just a matter of reconciling the relationship you have with your responsibilities and how you spend your time, and finding a way to fulfill that, okay, within, so that you can be settled with where you are. This is important. Structure, stability, and consistency. That's the message I'm getting for you, okay? And there's a link for the sovereignty. Oh, she says, thanks. You're welcome. My pleasure. There is the link for the guide as well. Thank you both for putting it on screen repeatedly. That's for everybody who hasn't had a chance to review it yet. Okay. Okay. Do we have any more questions for tonight? It's our first night back on Wednesday, so I'm so happy for those of you that have joined us. And I wasn't sure how many people would be here tonight, so it's lovely to see you all. Hi, Louise. I see you. Good. Any other questions here? Moonlight says, I'd appreciate if you could check on me. I'd be very grateful. Also, I'm wondering, I'm turning 34 this year, no kids. How many kids do you see me having in this life? Okay, so here's what I want to say. You asked me, so I'm just going to give you the straight, direct, laser truth. I feel like there's a real neediness that's coming through in your energy, like, looking for the something to feel connected to, feel purposeful, feel fulfilled by. Okay. And this is human. So many of us live in this way. We want the relationship, we want the kids, we want the next thing, we want to know that we've got something to look forward to. Okay. And this can feel very reassuring. It could even give you a temporary boost in your frequency, which is kind of what readings do. They boost us up to go, oh, I didn't think of that, or this thing is now, the reader told me that this thing is possible. So now this is a boost in my frequency. So now I'm living into the possibility and I'm helping manifest and bring it into tangible evidence. In your case, Moonlight, what I'm feeling is that it's kind of like, it's there. You're not doing the actual inner work for this to land and for it to be embodied. It's only good for the moment. And then it's sort of, you sort of lose your grip on what's really important in your life. Okay. So I keep feeling like there's a need for deep inner child work here, to really make peace with your self-love, self-worth. You're so young, and I feel like you've been on your own for a really long time. There's a big theme around being abandoned in childhood and so on. So learning how to stand on your own 2 feet, these are all priorities. Once you reconcile some of these themes, I feel like the relationship, or the right relationship, will show up for you effortlessly, and I say this with love and gentleness and care. I feel like you're a beautiful person, an attractive person. I don't feel like, a relationship would be difficult for you. It's just a matter of, are you in right relationship with yourself, which I don't believe you are. And I think it's important for you to look at that even before considering children. You can have children. There's no, I don't see any blocks around that, but it's a matter of you getting into right relationship with yourself first. And I wouldn't be doing my job in integrity if I didn't give you that message as your first, this is the first action to take, is to do the inner healing work so that you can set the right foundation for a healthy, loving relationship with yourself. Okay. That's my message for you tonight. All right. Beautiful. Good. I think we might be out of questions, right? Good. Here we go. Okay. So for those of you that are looking for one-to-one readings, if you want to come and book an intuitive life guidance reading or a mediumship reading, or even past life regression, that's the link to come and book with me. So you can visit that as well. Hi, Demi. Hi, Demi. Demi says, hi, Sabrina. I wanted to know what message Spirit has. Okay. Let's see. It's interesting because the first thing I see is like journaling or writing, or like writing in a book, or maybe even doing some intuitive writing. which would be a good part of your practice. If you haven't considered incorporating that, I feel like that would be really good for you to start deepening your relationship to receiving information and writing it down. I actually feel like you're very skilled as a writer, and it's something that you haven't fully nurtured, so yeah, you're. And I want to go take this a bit further as far as the writing goes, because it feels like you're filling out things, maybe applications, or um, you're having to write about yourself. And it's interesting because you're really at a point in your life where you're looking to. I love telling stories. She says, "Okay, good." So yeah, this is like you're so maybe it's time for you to tell your own story, like the story of, write about you, write about your life, your journey, your healing journey. I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but I feel like there's something around like you having to heal from some things, or having to overcome some adversity, some pain that you've had to sort of really lead yourself through. I used to. She says, okay, so it's Spirit wants you to pick that up again. It's actually going to be very healing and cathartic for you. And of course, journaling is a beautiful practice to include in our self-love, self-healing journey. I highly recommend it for everybody. But for you specifically, I feel like Spirit's saying, tell her to write more, to talk about herself, share a little bit about what she's been through. There are some things that you haven't fully processed. Okay. And you're at a point in your life now where it's like everything is new. There's so many new things on the horizon. There's a new job, new location, new move, new like potential relationships shifting. So there's a lot of change. So it's really good for you right now to write your process down and to anchor yourself in these pivotal moments, because the writing will help illuminate, any confusion. It will help give you clarity along the path. Demi says, it's funny because I have a children's book idea that I've been sitting on and been thinking of doing. Beautiful. So you got to write. You have to write. Like I said, you're either writing a book or writing in a journal. Like it's important for you to write, and it's going to open. I love that it's a children's book, because I actually feel like you could be doing the animation around this too, or the illustration rather, like the drawing, and that's kind of brings out the playfulness of the child in you, which is a beautiful energy to be in as you sort of revisit some of these older childhood, I want to say childhood, I guess, wounds, or so there's something you haven't fully processed yet from your childhood that I actually think writing this book will help you heal. It's kind of like the Spirit's bringing this background, saying it's time to come full circle with this, and this project will help you heal that, will help you work on it. Okay. And bring that into your awareness. All right. So yeah, that's my message for you tonight. Louise says, I highly recommend our child work, Sabrina. Loving support to your sovereignty. Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Louise. I appreciate you so much. And thank you for being here. Awesome. Patty says, I do have a question about a new rescue kitty, if time allows. I lost my 19-year-old cat in December. I'm so sorry. And this one seemed to connect with me. Do our pets send others to us? Absolutely, yes. First of all, yes to all the animals you can rescue, as many as you can fit in your home, as is manageable for your life. I think, look, it's very common for our pets that cross over to want us to, move on and have another pet, or have that same type of love and protection in our lives. Dogs and cats especially are just a pure source of unconditional love and companionship, and pets are wonderful reflectors. They match our energy, and they show us, like, when we're out of alignment, when we're too anxious, when we're too unsettled, when we're not grounded and as calm as we can be. So yes, our pets definitely send us other animals, and they know when we're ready. This is the important thing, is your cat actually knows. I think we spoke when you lost your cat. Your cat knows when you're ready for this next relationship in your life. And it's interesting because and this is specifically for you, Patty, and whoever else this resonates for, but this cat represents independence. And there's something about emotional independence and emotional sovereignty. There's that word again, um, that's so important for you. The cat is kind of like showing you how to land on your feet, how to be independent, how to protect yourself, how to have proper boundaries, how to have balance. These are all the things that the cat represents in your life, and I think that's part of the reason why you're being drawn to this rescue. The more rescues, the better. My dear kitty had a traumatic past, but we need each other. Yeah. I believe it. I believe it 100%. And all these things I'm saying are like really sort of in the vein of why this animal is important in your life right now. Independence, balance, and learning to trust yourself. Emotional independence as well. Like really, how cats are really kind of self-sufficient. They keep to themselves. They're not like, yeah, this is something that needs to be mirrored back to you, and it will actually help you in your personal relationship, with your partner. Okay, that emotional independence again is what I'm hearing for you. Okay, so yes to the cat, and I think it's a beautiful thing, and I think it's a really, yeah, I think it's a beautiful energy to have in your life, especially as you're learning to transcend fear and deal with the stress that you were talking about earlier. Okay. So congratulations on your new kitty. All right. Beautiful. Demi says, I will get back into it. Yay. Awesome. Go do that and come back and let us know how that unfolds for you. I love this book idea. And I love the idea of you drawing the illustration as well. So the writing and the drawing go hand in hand for this book. And it's important that you do both. Okay. Because it's like you have a clear, and maybe it's even you as a kid, like the story of you as a kid or something you had to overcome in your childhood, being told in the voice of a child, for children. So that is a good message for you, Demi. I'm really happy for that. And Patty says, wonderful, thank you. Demi says, also, we did book our Airbnb. That was an RV that was white with black trim. Oh, good. But they bumped us out of the deal. They said they have other ones for us to look at. Okay, gotcha. Interesting. I think that's exactly what we saw the last time you were here. So thank you for validating. I appreciate it. And, it's still, yeah, I feel like it's whatever trip you're booking is still on the books. Like, and you're not canceling your plans or anything. So that's good. Beautiful. Okay. And Denise says, yes. Okay, good. Gemini. Hi, Gemini. Coming in late, but would love a message if there's time. Welcome to Wednesdays. We usually see each other on Sundays. I don't know if you just came in from a yoga class or something, but it feels really kind of relaxed where you are. It feels relaxed and expansive, and like it feels like there's a serenity to your energy that hasn't been there in a while. I almost feel like something's been lifted, and perhaps you're getting more clarity in terms of how you want to spend your time or what you want to be focusing on. But there's a relaxedness about your energy that spirit's validating and saying more of this, take more time to do this, which is resting and allowing yourself to receive and allowing yourself to not rush to make things happen. There's a lot of beauty in just watching what unfolds. I feel like, I'm not entirely sure what you do right now, but I feel like you've put some feelers out. Maybe you've talked to some people, or you've put you're considering some opportunities, and now it's just a matter of watching to see what happens, watching to see what unfolds. And this is exactly where you want to be right now. This is not a time of activity for you. It's a time of observation and recalibration and manifestation, like visualizing and embodying and feeling and allowing. Not too much, not too many actions for you to take right now. Okay. So, and if you haven't just come in from a yoga class, that's the vibe I'm feeling. Like this is something that you need to be either incorporating, relaxing, stretching, opening up your heart and your mind to the things that you're envisioning for your life right now. Okay. It's kind of like, it feels work related, but it's not something you've done before. It's something new that's opening up, and it's something that you want and that you're actually that you're good at, that maybe you didn't think would be possible for you. I actually feel like there's an opportunity or an invitation around that's showing up for you in this lull, in this period of like not doing much, but just watching and waiting to see what happens. Okay. That's where you're at right now, Gemini. That's what I feel for you. And let me know if that resonates. And Gemini says, yes, lots of surrendering and possibly an opportunity opening up. Oh, beautiful. Good. It's that thing, whatever it is that is opening up is going to fall. It's going to come through. Okay. But just, I want you to trust it and relax around it. Okay. Don't get attached. Just allow it and observe. Right now, the key word for you is just equanimity. Just observing what happens and then making decisions from your body, as we've been talking about all night. Trusting the truth in your body, not trying to overthink and overanalyze. How can I make this happen? Really trusting the truth in your body as it unfolds. This is meant to move slow, and you can't force it. So just give yourself permission to go slow. Okay. And it will come through for you, whatever the opportunity is. All right. Beautiful. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me live. We're going to wrap it up there tonight, I think, but that's all the questions. Yes. Okay. If most of you got your questions answered, if you want to go deeper into your life path and your choices and your spirit guides and your loved ones and messages from the universe, there's the link to book a reading. It'd be my honor to sit with you in a one-on-one together. And for those of you that are inclined, you can join our upcoming Oracle gathering. It's going to be at the end of this month. We'll be announcing those dates on the website. There's the link for the gathering. And if you want to join our channel and become part of our Inner Oracle community membership, you can just click join on the YouTube channel, wherever you're sitting from, wherever you're watching from, and that will take you to our membership. And if you want to jump into the guide, this is the quickest way to get access to me, my voice, my guidance, my reassurance, my support, my energy. That is the link to the guide, and it is 6 guided audio meditations plus a workbook. It's a wonderful starting point if we've never worked together before, for you to get familiar with my work. Sovereignty is really the core of everything I teach, really rooted in inner peace and learning to trust ourselves. Okay, so thank you everybody for joining me live tonight. It's good to be back on Wednesdays. We'll see you every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific. Thank you for all the beautiful questions and all the love. Vicky says, good night, Sabrina and Bo. Good night, Vicky. You're so welcome. You're welcome, everybody. I love you all so much. I'll see you next week. All my love.